Evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Kettering City Council. Today's date is August 27th of 2024. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to recognize Mike Soproni in the back. He's our Miami Valley Communication Council TV operator. We thank you for your support always. I'm going to back up and now do an invocation according to Amy, so we'll do that. Oh, Holy One, we come together this evening. Let us all remember that we're here to work together and make wise decisions for the good of our community. Be with us in this meeting. Mayor Lehner, I'm obviously not her. She does have an excused absence this evening. Mr. Sullivan.
Your Honor, I have read the August 13th, 2024 council meetings and minutes and workshop minutes. I find them in order and I move for approval.
Second.
Questions? Corrections? Call the roll, ma'am.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Sedith?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher?
Yes. We do have an appointment this evening of Courtney Pittsinger, and she is going to be on the Volunteer Advisory Council with the term ending of December the 31st of 2026. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Like sign? Opposed? Awesome. Courtney, we're excited to have you on the Volunteer Advisory Council, and I look forward to working with you. There are no public hearings this evening. We will now move to our legislation. Anyone wishing to speak for council with comments or new information about legislation on tonight's agenda may do so at this time. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Speakers must state their name and address. Comments should be addressed to council. If you have any comments that are not about the legislation on tonight's agenda, there will be an opportunity for those to be heard later in the meeting. Seeing no one move. Ordinances in second reading, we have none. Mr. Sullivan, would you please start us off with our resolutions?
I would love to. Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept and administer a grant for coaches training from the National Recreation and Park Association. This is requested by Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Greason.
I'm going to ask Mr. Bergstrasser to cover on this one.
Thank you. The Kettering Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Department was awarded this grant from the National Recreation and Park Association's Million Coaches Challenge Grant Program, which provides access to volunteer youth coaches to a training program through the How to Coach Kids program. Through this grant, we will have the ability to train 150 coaches before the end of 2024. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Sedith?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to use competitive bargaining and negotiated quotes to contract for the restoration and resurfacing of sports court surfacing at various parks in Kettering. The amount this will cost and the amount budgeted is $41,000, requested by Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Department. I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Bergstrasser.
Thank you. This project will include cleaning, crack repair, equipment replacement, repainting of court lines, and resurfacing of several sport courts within our parks. Specifically for this year, we are planning to make improvements to Oak Creek, Walther, Oak, Ernst, Wensler, Southern Hills, and Tate Parks. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Sedith?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to use competitive bargaining and negotiated quotes to contract for repair, cleaning, roofing, and painting of various park amenities and structures. Estimated cost is $30,000. That is the amount budgeted and is requested by Parks and Recreation. I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Bergstrasser.
Thank you. This project consists of minor carpentry repair, cleaning, and painting of park shelters. Decking, hardscape features, fountains, play equipment, and amenities at various parks throughout the system. It's an annual program we have through our Parks Division. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Ms. Duval.
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher.
Yes.
I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to accept $1.25 million in state capital appropriations designated for improvements to Building 46 located in the Kettering Business Park. The estimated cost is $1.25 million. The amount to be included in next year's budget, $1.25 million. This is requested by the city manager's office, and I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Shkowski.
Thank you, ma'am. Early in 2004, the city made a request for $2 million in the state capital appropriations for improvements to Building 46 at the Kettering Business Park through the Dayton Development Coalition's Priority Development and Advocacy Committee, commonly referred to as PDAC. In response to this request, the city has been awarded $1.25 million to accept and access this appropriation. The City Council must authorize the city manager to execute those documents as required by the state.
Any questions? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Duval.
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher.
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the acceptance of donations from Teresa Huber and Doug Toma through the Kettering Police Foundation for the purchase of a dual-purpose police canine, associated equipment, and related travel expenses. The estimated cost is $9,000. The amount budgeted is $0. This is requested by the Police Department with the thanks to Ms. Teresa Huber and Mr. Doug Toma. I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. We're pleased that Ms. Teresa Huber donated $7,000 to the Police Foundation for the purchase of a dual-purpose canine, associated equipment, and expenses. We're thankful because this is not her first donation to our Kettering Police Foundation. Additionally, Doug Toma, on behalf of Sandy's Towing, has donated $2,000. Similarly, for the purchase of a dual-purpose canine. Sandy's Towing is a longtime reputable business serving police departments throughout the Miami Valley. And I'd invite the chief to add anything he'd like to add.
Thank you, Your Honor. The only thing I'd like to say is we'd also like to congratulate Canine Ox, who is going to retire, and this will be his replacement. Thank you.
Oh, it's always a good thing to retire, though. Any more questions?
I have two questions, actually. What are the dual purposes? That's the first question.
Dual-purpose dogs are trained in drug detection, tracking purposes, and also apprehension.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Second question, do we get to name the dog?
We leave that up to the handlers, but they
okay.
have to have that approved by the administration.
Oh, okay, all right. That's fair.
Any more questions?
Where does the dog go when it's retired?
The handlers who have them take them, so they keep them at home with them.
Come pass. Any more? This is a lot of questions coming out of this council on that issue. Probably wants a dog park. All right. Ms. Hayslip, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Suddeth.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Ms. Duval.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher.
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to use competitive bargaining and negotiated quotes to contract for the purchase of an unmarked vehicle for the Kettering Police Department. The estimated cost is $28,000 and the amount budget is $0. This is requested by the police department and I move for approval.
Second?
Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. This comes out of sequence from our normal purchase of vehicles. This request is to replace a police vehicle that was totaled in a no-fault accident. We expect that insurance will cover the cost of the vehicle, but we need your approval to purchase it.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mrs. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Ms. Duval.
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher.
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing an additional expenditure of funds for environmental site assessment services. This is being requested by the engineering department. The cost and amount available is $11,500. I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Bergstresser.
Thank you. Additional funds are being requested for some additional site investigation activities that need to be done as part of a Phase 2 environmental site assessment for a property the city owns at 2569 Patterson Road, which is also known as the former Cheerheart Cleaners site. Back in December of last year, Council approved a resolution for approximately $43,000 with Patriot Engineering. Since that time, we have identified additional activities that need to take place, and therefore we're requesting an additional expenditure tonight of $11,500, which is greater than 25% of the original contract amount. Therefore, council approval is required for the expenditure. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor Lehner? Whoops.
Vice-
Vice Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's all good. We're all out of sorts.
Your Honor, I have a resolution authorizing the city manager to contract with innovative software services for the city tax e-file system. Estimated cost is $33,500. That is the funds available and is requested by the Finance Department. I do move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. Currently, the tax division uses two separate software systems. One that is the primary software for processing returns, think in the office, and the second that is the electronic filing software for people filing by not coming into the office. Our in the office tax processing software provider now offers an e-file system, and our e-file system that we're currently using is undergoing some changes. So we've been investigating software and looking at both systems, and the tax administrator is now recommending that we move to City Tax e-file, which is our internal processing return software. So we'll have one vendor for both our e-file and our processing of returns. We believe this product offers us a number of advantages that will benefit the consumer in addition to internal staff. It's fully integrated, a more user-friendly experience, compatibility with data in the existing tax system, which allows users to view payments, prior year credits, net operating losses, or those kind of things. Filing at no additional cost, electronic filing of withholding payments, annual reconciliations, and W-2s. Documents submitted are automatically scanned and indexed, and so on. We believe that given that we must make a change to our e-filing product, that the selection of this provider will allow for important improvements and benefit all users. Be glad to answer any questions you have.
Any additional questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Suddeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher?
Yes.
I have a resolution to make a supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Kettering, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024. Estimated cost is $37,000. This is requested by the Finance Department, and I move for approval.
Second.
Mr. Greason.
Yes, Your Honor. Just a few short minutes ago, you approved you accepted funds, $9,000 for the police department from the Kettering Police Foundation for our canines, and did a supplemental, approved negotiating for a vehicle to replace a police department vehicle. Now, we need you to appropriate the funds so that we can spend them. And that's what this appropriation does. Be glad to answer any questions you have.
Questions? Please call the roll, ma'am.
Ms. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Sudduth?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mrs. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fisher?
Yes. We have no ordinances in first reading. Certifications and petitions, Mrs. Hayslip.
There are no certifications or petitions this evening.
Mr. Greason, your report, please.
Yes. Make sure that it's up on the screen here. So the phrase season is not over, and there's some wonderful concerts both this week and in the coming weeks. Brantley Gilbert, Dylan Scott coming. We also have another festival, Eco Fest, Saturday, September 14th. Breakfast with the Beatles and the sold-out Ringo Starr and his all-star band on September 15th. You can purchase tickets at all of the places on the screen, and we encourage you to enjoy our beloved phrase. The Good Neighbor Award, nominations for our award will be accepted through August 31st. So if you have a neighbor whose efforts, both small and large, make your neighborhood a better place, please nominate them to be recognized as one of our many good neighbors. Just want to let everyone know that the City of Kettering's administrative offices will be closed for September 2nd in observance of Labor Day. And Holiday Home, Sunday, September 1st through Monday, September 2nd. This is an important and cherished event in our community, and we want to make sure that everybody is aware of it. Featured events include music and entertainment, a children's zone, arts and crafts, of course, the parade, auto show, and the Holiday at Home 5K run and Kids Fun Run. And as you may know, there is a distinguished hometown celebrity that you may know very well, our own Bruce Duke. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, September 14th is the free community event, Eco Fest at Lincoln Park Commons, where there's fun and family-oriented education focused on helping the planet. We encourage everyone to come from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Our Tot Shop sale is Saturday, September the 14th. If you want to shop and save, the Kettering Top Shop sale is a vendor sale with items exclusively for ages newborn to 12. At the Latham Senior Center, I should add. I know you're getting your bike ready and your tires pumped up for the Cycle Kettering community rides, Sunday, September 22nd, 3 to 5, starting at the Kettering Recreation Complex. It says enjoy a leisurely 10 to 15 mile ride at a no sweat pace. 10 to 15 miles seems, might push some people's limit, but I think they'll take it easy on you and come out and explore parks, neighborhoods, and shopping areas, and as we promote cycling in this wonderful community. And lastly, September 28th is our Shred Day and Styrofoam Recycling event. Fairmont High School parking lot, 9 a.m. to noon. Take advantage of it. Be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? We are now at the point that anyone in the audience can come down, and you have 5 minutes to speak. You have to give your address and name. Anyone out there? Seeing none, let's go ahead with our council reports. Mr. Sullivan.
All right. I would like to give an update on the Sustainability Committee, of which I'm the council liaison. So a couple things to note. We recently conducted a kind of a baseline study to know where we are as a city, because if we implement any things to, use less energy or whatever strategies we use, we got to know that where we were today to see if we can measure and see if we made improvements. So we conducted that baseline study. I also wanted to give a shout out to the Bella Villa. So Italian Fest is coming up, and they kind of, the Bella Villa designed or created their own green team. So kind of on their own free will, they just chose to do this, and they're going to try to do more recycling and have less waste at the Italian Fest this year, which is one of my favorite Kettering festivals. So you can go check it out. Maybe there'll be a little less, trash this year, or they might hand you one napkin instead of two, so kind of reduce how much they're passing out. I don't know what their strategies are, but I'm excited they're doing that on their own. They always give you a whole wad of napkins, right? Because we do that at Kettering events. We do that at, when we're at Lincoln Park, but to see an organization do that is just choosing to do it is exciting. And then lastly, I'll say the strategic plan. We have our internal goal teams. So there are 6 pillars of the strategic plan. So we're all excited to actually start doing stuff and having some action items, I think. And I sit on the sustainability portion of that. And the sustainability committee is really excited to work with and give feedback to that internal goal team. So those are 2 separate groups, but I think they'll work closely together. That's it from me.
That's excellent. Mrs. Hall?
Yes, looking forward to Holiday at Home. It seems like if you're not in the parade and you live in Kettering, then you're in the audience, but it's about half and half for the whole whole city to come together, and it's fun to see so many people in a parade and be with everyone. Looking forward to it. And also, I saw that the combined apartments at the Loft and the Senior Village were at 100% capacity almost immediately. So it really reflects the acute need for housing here in Kettering. And I'm really happy that the council and the city are working together on even more housing in the future. And lastly, just want to say congrats to Fairmont, who beat Alter again in the battle for Kettering last week, 24-7, for the 4th year in a row.
Very good. Mr. Scott?
Ms. Hall stole my thunder about Fairmont. I will add one small comment. For the first time in a great many years, I could not attend a game last Thursday, but I got updates from Mr. Greason, who happened to be there. And I think it's worth noting that this year's senior class of Fairmont football players will have never lost to Alter in their football playing career for the Firebirds.
Very good.
Also, add a little bit to what Mr. Sullivan said about our strategic plan committees. I was on one of the committees I'm on. We met last week for telling the Kettering story, and I think we got up to a good start. And we have a great story to tell, but I think we're going to improve how we message it. And lastly, Shop Kettering.
Ms. Duvall?
I have no update. Keeping it short and sweet.
Mr. Suddeth?
Still processing Lisa's no report.
I hear you. It's
done
kind of
the-
fun, huh?
KLA, is that doing anything? Do I have to prompt you on this?
The retreat isn't until the week after Labor Day, so we don't have anything. I know.
A few things. One, it was my honor to welcome Colonel Dustin Richards, the commander of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, to the frays with the Air Force Band of Flight last week, and to be a part of that show and spend time with the band. You may not notice about the Air Force Band of Flight, but they play a free concert every year here in our community, and those enlisted men and women, mostly men, but Tech Sergeant DeWitt led us with the national anthem. They are all master's degree and PhD trained fine musicians, and it's their job to wear the Air Force uniform and play these community engagement concerts, and they're amazing musicians. It was a great show, and a time that the base just gets a little bit closer to our community than normal. So it was a real pleasure to be there last week. Also, I was at the open house for the Senior Village at Kettering Town Center with the mayor and city manager, Matt, last week, and had the chance to talk to some of the residents and hear some of the reports from St. Mary's Development Coalition, St. Mary's Development Corporation, about who the residents are. And the majority of the residents that moved into those 52 spots were Kettering residents. I spoke to one of the residents, Paula, for a good while after the event. She was raised in Kettering as a kid, lived here, raised her kids here, and due to circumstances, had to find housing in the city of Dayton. And she was so appreciative and thankful that the developers and St. Mary's Development Corporation come together to bring her back to her city. And it was just really encouraging to spend time with her afterwards to know how important it was for her to be back in the community that she had raised her family in, and how just happy she was to have that opportunity. I am the staff of the council representative for the Board of Community Relations. For For those who don't know, it's the purpose of the BCR is to promote programs that make Kettering a welcoming community for everybody that comes to our city. And a couple things are happening right now. First, is we're looking for volunteers that want to serve as a member of BCR. So we're taking applications now for spots that'll be open in 2025. It's a 3-year term. We'd love to hear from you if you're interested in serving on the BCR. And the second, as part of that, is we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month that begins on the 15th of the month. It's a very unique month, so we celebrate our Latino friends and neighbors here in Kettering. The month starts in the middle of the month, which makes it very unique. And there's an art contest that's happening. If you go to our website, the details are there. Just search Hispanic Heritage Month. There are cash prizes for students who find themselves at the top of the contest for art this month, so look for that. And this is still August. In October, we hope to have those winners here at a council meeting to see that work. So stay tuned and for ways to help celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with BCR. And it looks like that is everything I have for tonight.
Excellent.
So Jackie, since I went long, you can go short this month.
I'll go short. 2 things. To add to the bike ride, they're actually going to be going to all the different art pieces that we have around the community. So there is a theme for that bike ride. So it's more than just sweating, but we're going to get to see some awesome art. Before I went on vacation, I had an opportunity to go to the Socialite Cafe and for their soft opening. And I will tell you, I met the owners, Scott and Rebecca. What an awesome space that is. I would encourage, I didn't order food that day, I just had coffee, but I know all of us are looking forward to the ribbon cutting, but what a great add to our city, the Socialite Cafe. So, given there's no other business coming before the City Council, our next regularly scheduled council meeting will be on September the 10th, and this meeting is adjourned.